Right, what's up, Dragon Brood? This is day 8 of Edge of Eternity previews, and this might be our last day unless some really cool stuff gets previewed in the last batch of cards on Friday. So, keeping up with everything, here we go. Starting with Secluded Starforge. This card is a land. It's able to tap for just one colorless, or one wingding, as we like to say. 2, and tap it. Tap X, untapped artifact creatures you control. Target creature gets +X/+0 until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. You can pay 5 and tap it and create a 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token. This is a big deal. Now, don't get me wrong, 5's a lot. But to be able to make a 2/2 that doesn't enter the battlefield tapped, that isn't a 1/1, it can block everything like normal, that's probably one of the better lands we could have. And it works in token decks, it works in control decks, it works for anything that wants to do robots or artifacts. Like, this land actually is going to probably have a reasonable amount of play in Standard. Starwinder. For those who don't know, I did a preview video. It was really cool. We went into space. You should check it out. If I remember, I'll try to link it here. I don't know if I will. But if not, go to my channel, check it out. It's also on my socials. I'd appreciate it. I put a lot of work into it. And it's like campy space cinema. So go enjoy. But anyway, Starwinder. It's a 5 blue, so 7 mana for a 7/7 Leviathan. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw that many cards. It has warp of 2 blue. This thing's great. Like, for 4 mana on an early turn, you can potentially draw realistically like 3 to 5 cards, which isn't unreal, assuming 1 or 2 things go unblocked. So you've got a loaded hand, and then 3 turns later, you just play a big 7/7. And again, it's not when a creature deals damage you draw a card. You draw that many cards for the amount of damage. So this is really big. This is a thing that I expect we'll see some amount of play. I just don't know what decks particularly want it yet. But because of the warp costs, it becomes a very interesting spell as much as it can be just a good late game creature. Atomic Microizer. It's a blue for an equipment. Creature gets +1/+0. Equip creature attacks, choose up to 1 target creature. That creature can't be blocked this turn and has base power and toughness 1/1 until end of turn. Equip of 2. Alright, so when the equip creature attacks, you choose 1 creature. That creature can't be blocked and becomes smaller. So you're using it on your attack to make something not be able to be blocked. But, I mean, I guess this is fine if you have something that just needs to connect terribly. But you also turn into a 1/1, so it's more susceptible to being killed. I mean, there's uses for this. I'm just not sure if this is the type of card we want to be messing around with in 60-card Magic. But you never know. Not really sure what this is. The translation is like Forgotten Socket something. But either way, it's a 3 colorless and a red, so 4 mana. Or 3 generic and a red, for those that are sticklers. It's an artifact. You can tap it, sacrifice another artifact, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is 1 plus the mana value artifact you sacrifice. You may play those cards this turn. This is interesting. So you get rid of something that costs 2. You can look at 3 cards, and then you can play those cards until end of turn. If you're just sacrificing like a robot, you just get to look at 1 card and get a chance to play that for free. You can't play it for free, so you have to pay the cost. Maybe. There's a world where if you're just like making tokens every turn and sacking tokens, then I guess it's fine. You just get to look at a free card. So possibly, but not one I'm terribly excited about right now. Glacier Godm. 5 green, so 7 mana for a 6/6, another Leviathan with trample. When this creature enters, create a lander token. When it has landfall, whenever a land you control enters, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance and haste until end of turn. Meh. It's neat for limited, but otherwise, we're never really going to play this card. I believe we've seen this card earlier in the season, but I'll just talk about it again because it's here and this artwork's really cool. Botanic Steadfast second, 2 red for a 3/5 Kavu pilot. Other creatures you control have haste. Artifact cards and red creature cards in your hand have warp, 2, and a red. This is really cool. No, we actually haven't seen this one because I remember this. But Other creatures you control have haste. Awesome. So now everything has haste. But artifact cards and red cards in your hand can be played for a warp cost of 3. This means that, you know, whatever big dumb idiots you have now get to come down to the battlefield and get to swing for a turn before they get exiled off to the side. This is a cool card, and I don't even know if this goes into a Kavu deck or just some like big Gruul monsters, or maybe it plays well with Reanimator decks, right? So now you can just play your big monsters for 3 and just get in there if you don't have a way to get them into the graveyard or reanimate them. Like, I don't know. There's some crazy stuff you might be able to do with this card. Also, just because here's the regular version where he's just like at the controls of a warping spaceship, which is crazy. Fowler's Faithful. 2 and a, I don't know what I was going to say there. 2 and a black for a 3/1 human wizard. It's been a long week of cards, y'all. When this card enters, destroy up to 1 other target creature. If that creature wasn't dealt damage this turn, its controller draws 2 cards. So you just get rid of a creature, but then they get 2 cards, and you end up with a 3/1. But if it has already been dealt damage, then you kill the creature, they don't get anything. This feels like the type of card we play in Limited, but we're probably not playing it in 60 card. But I'd love to be wrong. I mean, it is a human and a wizard, and that could matter for things. Melstriders Resolve. Just a single green mana for an aura. Enchant a creature you control. When this aura enters, enchant a creature fights up to 1 target creature an opponent controls. Enchant a creature gets +0/+2 and can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. This is a unique take on a fight spell. So it's still 1 green at sorcery speed. Your creature fights, but it has higher toughness, so it probably survives the fight. And then as a bonus, they can't double block it. I mean, that's good if it's like a trampler or something especially. I mean, this seems gimmicky, but it might be low-key playable. Gigastorm Titan. 5 mana, so 4 and a blue, 4/4. That's barely a Titan. It's actually an elemental creature type. This spell costs 3 less to cast if you've cast another spell this turn. Well, a 2 mana 4/4 is kind of awesome, right? I ain't mad at that. So you could, I don't know, opt and then play this thing. So for a 3 mana turn, you got to look an extra card and get a 4/4. Yeah, this has some room to be played for sure. Codecracker Hound. 2 and a blue for a 2/1 dog. In blue, that's cool. Most of the dogs are either red, white, or green. So that's kind of neat. When this creature enters, look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put 1 into your hand, put the other into your graveyard. Has a warp of 2 and a blue. So it's just 3 either way. Interesting. But you get to do it twice if you do the warp thing, right? So you get to look at the top 2, 1 in the hand, 1 in the yard. I mean, this is reasonable. It's a 3 mana, look at 2, 1 goes to hand, 1 goes to yard. You get to do it twice. The second time you end up with the 2/1 on the battlefield. Not fancy, but could be just good enough. Lash Whip Predator. 4 green for a 5/7 plant beast. This spell costs 2 less to cast if your opponents control 3 or more creatures and it has reach. So you could play it for possibly 4 mana for a 5/7 with reach. But they have to have 3 creatures. Nah, I feel even for 6 mana, just straight up, there's probably better things you can do. We're not really considering playing this. Blade of the Swarm. 3 and a black for a 3/1 insect assassin. When this creature enters, choose 1. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on this creature. Put target exiled card with warp on the bottom of its owner's library. Okay, I can respect this. So you pay 4 mana for a 5/3 creature. Or get to take something that's warped and put it back in the owner's library so they don't get it later. This is fine. This feels like either a sideboard card or it's unplayable, right? In a world where lots of people are doing warp things, then maybe there's some value, but otherwise, we're not going to play this. Oh, it's actually Mimanus Exile. I don't know why that name just amuses me. 1 red-blue for a 1/3 jellyfish advisor. It has flying. Whenever an artifact you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. The first thing I thought about this, believe it or not, is we still have pirates that are legal in standard. One of the pirates also says, when an artifact enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 on a creature. Or maybe put a +1/+1 on a pirate. But either way, multiple things that care about artifacts entering the battlefield, then putting +1/+1s on things. this could already work with some other stuff. And this actually isn't a terrible cost for what this card is able to do. Put through the weft, 3 green for a sorcery. Return up to 2 target non-land permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand, then return up to 2 target land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Tapped. Generally, I would say I'm not a huge fan of these types of cards, but that is a lot of value, right? Getting 2 cards to your hand and 2 lands to the battlefield. I don't know if it's good enough to play, but man, they've given you enough value that you can at least consider like a one of in some builds. But I'd imagine in most cases this won't be making the cut. Well, between the new crazy Kavu and the super cheap Titan, now we're starting to see how decks come together. And there's going to be a lot of cards, even the ones we got previewed today, that are probably going to go into existing builds or make some older builds better, which is kind of cool. That's usually what you want from your new sets. So yeah, I don't know if anything excited y'all today, but there's a few things that got my attention. So we'll see where things go. But like always, I'm going to go ahead and link yesterday's previews so you can get caught up if you're behind. Otherwise, that's all I have for now. We'll see you next time.